Back home now, former SABC COO Hlaudi Motsoeneng is making bold promises. He says South Africans will feel and eat change when he takes the reins from President Cyril Ramaphosa. Motsoeneng launching a new political party, the Africa Content Movement. He joins us now for more. Good evening, Mr. Motsoeneng. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Before we get started, let's just begin with the name of the party. Just so for the sake of context, is it the African Content Movement or is it the African Content Movement?
It is African Content Movement.
So what was your thinking when you came up with that name?
Look, I believe in Africa. I believe that African, we should have our own currency and control our own currency in Africa, the continent itself. When it comes to content, I believe that 90% of content we should produce. Content is not the SABC like other people will think. Content is your minerals, your gold. Content is your own factories. I'm saying, example, you see your hair is so nice, but you have Brazilian hair. People are very excited. I'm saying too, why we don't have South African hair? You see, my hair here, we know our hair is short, but we can leave our hair to grow up. And we make sure that we produce this African hair. And we also know that other people, they have long hair. Let us have our own and produce our own product in Africa and South Africa. That is what I believe in. I don't believe that we should depend on outsiders. Example, President Ramaphosa, he's raising funding now outside the country. But here we have minerals in South Africa. Who runs our mines, who run all these big factories? It's people from outside. As long as all these people from outside, they run our economy, we as South Africans will always be poorer because the economy, it is not in our hands. I want to come with laws, and our laws will be saying that the investors from outside, when they come in South Africa, they should be here for 20 years.
Are these laws that are separate from the Constitution, or laws that are guided by the Constitution in terms of the kind of legal changes that you would want to make? How close would it be to what we have right now?
No, when you look at the Constitution of South Africa, it caters for South Africans, that we must empower South Africans. Is there? It caters that issue that you are referring to, and it is not discriminating. What we are saying, if you are an investor, you come to South Africa, build the factories, but our own people should be shareholders in those factories. After 20 years, I'm just giving you an example, it may be 30 years. After 20 years, you move. Our own people, they have expertise and skills. They run those factories, which means the economy remain in South Africa with South Africans.
Mr. Motsoeneng, what makes you think that you are the kind of leader that South Africa needs today? Very briefly, just 3 qualities.
I'm very independent. I'm very decisive on matters that I believe in. And I believe in myself. I believe that the only person now who can change South Africa is Hlaudi, no one else. And I always act. You know, when I take decision, I don't look left, right. I take decision. If I believe, I take those decisions in the interest of our own people. And I did that. The reason why all these political parties, including the ANC, colluded. And that is the reason why I'm forming this party. Because ANC and other political parties, they colluded when I was coming with radical transformation for South Africa, changing the lives of our own people. I mean, there is money in South Africa.
Sure. Let me just show you what SAFTU's Secretary General makes of the fact that you're now starting a party.
Anybody who have dreams now can really dream, and Hlaudi is not an exception. He is dreaming, and you saw that he says that he is unique. And he says that he is more popular than anybody, and that he is that South Africans know that that he is the only real leader this country has seen. This is the country of limitless possibility.
What do you make of that response?
I'm going to waste my time debating with Vavi. I believe on what I'm believing in. So if he dreams during the night, I don't dream during the night.
And for those that think it's laughable, obviously Zwelinzima Mabavi thinks it's laughable that you started a party.
No, you know, I don't want to debate with Vavi because I'm not going to contest with Vavi. I'm contesting with President Ramaphosa. You know, people can talk. I mean, people have been saying Trump won't win, Obama, including our former President Zuma. I mean, people talk. I mean, they have the right to talk. But I know that South Africa, they know that I'm an implementer. I can take action.
Let's talk about that implementation, because in terms of the record, South Africans can only go to the SABC where you have a track record. Let's look at what the former interim board had to say about you, that you brought the public broadcaster into disrepute, that you caused irreparable damage. Is that how you will run the country? Will you run the country like you did the SABC?
Do you have evidence on what you are saying?
The interim board did.
No. Have you read the books, the financials of the SABCU?
Well, the financials of the SABC currently, they're asking Parliament for a bailout, so you left them in financial distress. In fact, they're on the verge, as you would have read in reports, of having to retrench workers as a result of the financial mismanagement that happened under your watch.
Let me give you free education on this matter.
Very briefly, please.
And here's, no, but you need to give me so that I can be able to give you my point. When I arrived at the SABC, there was a problem financially. I'm the person who went there, resolved all the issues of the workers at the SABC, including the financials of the SABC. Example, SABC, they were sitting around 400 million. Remember, I started there in 2012, but I started in 2011. In November, already we can say 2012. 2012, 1.2 billion in the bank. I have been having all these billions. Consistency. In the SABC.
Where are those billions today? Because
no. Listen. I have been having all these billions. SABC, sweetness, giving people salary increment because there was money in the bank, there was cash. SABC was doing very well. And also qualifications. Qualifications. And let me tell you, when I left SABC, remember I have been having all these court cases and so on. I have not been there at the SABC consistency for the 2 years, the past 2 years. So, but when I left the SABC there was 881 million in the bank cash. If I leave you with 881 million in the bank, you mess up the money, you are left with 130 million. How can you blame me? Let's talk. Here's 800 million in the bank.
I think you've made your point. So let's move on from that, because one of the other things that you also implemented, you will remember, was a censoring of content, the banning of demonstrations. So if that too then is an example of your leadership over South Africa, should those who potentially are looking at your party be worried about freedom of expression?
No, look, I have never banned. Ben is you, journalist. I said South Africans, they should not ban
so then how do you explain the SABC 8? If you indeed had not done anything wrong and had not banned content, how do you explain the scenarios that we saw from the SABC 8, the stories that we heard in Parliament about the level of interference that was taking place at the SABC?
No. Listen. You see, you talk about issues that you don't know. The reason why ad hoc committee could not call me because they didn't want the truth. Now let me give you the truth. And the truth is on record at the SABC, even outside. I said, you can't ban school when you don't know whether kids or people are in the classrooms. I said, journalists should be very careful. How do they report? Because remember, now it's live television. You see, and I have a good legacy at the SABC. In my time, I make sure that we don't retrench 800 people. I'm the one who stopped retrenchment at the SABC. I'm the one who put a strategy in place to make sure that we don't retrench people. When I came, SABC, they were retrenching 800 people. When I'm not there, people are retrenched because they don't know how to run business.
All right. So I'm going to move us on very swiftly from that point, because I believe you've also given your take there. You've mentioned former President Jacob Zuma, and publicly you've always supported and spoken about the kind of relationship that you have. Firstly, will you be recruiting him for your party? And what does he think about your new venture?
Look, I will always defend where I think there is no justice. I will always defend anyone, not President Zuma only. I believe that President Zuma has been treated unfairly so, especially by the same ANC. When they remove him from parliament, they said to people of South Africa, they don't want him there because he is a risk for elections.
Will you be recruiting him for your party?
Yes, I must recruit everybody.
What does he think about the fact that you've started a party?
No, I haven't engaged him. But I want every South African, black and white, to join this party, because this is the party that is going to give real change in the lives of ordinary people of South Africa. The
president, according to reports, was him and Hlaudi were crucial, as we understand, in helping you attain money for your legal fees in August 2017. And we understand that this is money that was from Bosasa. As far as that matter is concerned, what do you know about the operations of Bosasa and the allegations that there's an ATM, basically, that politicians and well-connected people politically can go to access funds?
No, look, no. I think, I don't know how Hlaudi comes in here. I don't know how President Zuma comes in here. There is agreement between me and Bosasa, confidential agreement between me and Bosasa. But remember, when that agreement, I already left the SABC, so there is nothing wrong about what happened there.
So is Bosasa helping you fund your party at all?
Not yet.
Will you be approaching them to help you?
I will be approaching many people. I'm appealing to all people of South Africa to make sure that they fund the real change. And the real change is Hlaudi, who's going to make sure that I change South Africa. You can feel it, you can touch it.
All right, let's leave it there for tonight. We'll certainly be waiting to see what that change will look like. Hlaudi Motsoeneng, he is the founder of the African Content Movement, and of course that party set to contest elections in 2019.